So in this video, I'm gonna be going over how I've signed over the last 2.5 years of running my lead gen agency, 244 lead gen clients. As we can see here, 244 clients. Obviously, I'll refresh this dashboard as we always do. Have made over 7 figures myself with this agency over the last 2.5 years. Last month, we had our best month. It says 79 here, it was actually 75. This was like a payment from the program that came through over. So just in complete honesty, we didn't do that with purely the agency. 75 was from the agency. So in terms of that, in this video here, and to obviously give you a little bit of quick rundown, I run a lead gen agency called Avanta, where all we do and our whole purpose of the business is to simply book more qualified sales calls with our clients' ideal client. So we work with marketing agencies specifically. We decide who they want to target for them. We book calls in their calendar and we get paid per call that we book them. That's exactly the model. So in this, I'm just gonna be breaking down the exact format here and the phases that you'll go through to go from nothing to where I have now and signed at that point in time 244 clients with your lead gen agency too. So the big thing that we're gonna harp on here is we're only selling one service and you only have to master one skill. And all that skill is cold email. Because the same way you get clients with your cold email campaigns is the same service you then go turn around and perform for your clients. So you get clients with cold email, you get your clients results with cold email, and for every call that you book your clients with cold email, you get paid. So these are the phases that we'll go through here. Just want to make a general outline. So the first phase here is obviously $0 a month. And this is phase 1, days 0 through 14. And this is 2 weeks because it takes 2 weeks to set up and warm up your email infrastructure. And this is probably the most important step for if you're starting an agency, starting a lead gen agency, or looking to scale a current one. The most important step that you had to hit is setting up your infrastructure the proper way. So many people are looking for the magic, email script or the best copywriting techniques or where to scrape the leads. To be all honest, that stuff is important, but so much less important than infrastructure. And how we are going to want to set up infrastructure is we're going to want to go to Pork Bun, and this is where we're going to buy our domains from. I'll wait for this to load and start talking. And the first part of setting up infrastructure is going to be buying domains. And that's where we're going to want to go to Pork Bun and buy domains. As you can see here, we have 9,900 domains for our agency and our clients. So this is where we buy all of our domains from. And then as well, we want to go to cheap inboxes, and this is the inbox provider that we want to use for our infrastructure because we've tested so many. We see that cheap inboxes consistently has the best. So that's going to be step number 1, is setting up your infrastructure and actually giving yourself the 2 weeks to warm up, because it takes 2 weeks to warm up. After that, we can get into things. Now, what you're going to be doing in those 2 weeks once we start is first scraping a lead list. So whether it's Apollo, Outscraper, D7 Lead Finder, completely depends on the industry you're going after. But here we're going to scrape the first lead list, write copy, and on day 14, we can finally launch campaigns. Because again, it takes 2 weeks to set up the whole infrastructure for it to complete warming up. And once we've warmed up our emails, we can then start sending emails and start closing clients. And this is where we're going to get into phase 2. And this is days 15 to 45. And the goal here is to close 1 to 3 clients in that first 30 days of being live with our campaigns. Because the first 2 weeks, we can't send any outreach emails. Now, once we're live, the goal for that first 30 days is 1 to 3 clients. And what I really want to emphasize in this time period is it's going to be scrappy. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be clean. It's going to be messy. That's the whole point. You're going to take calls. You're going to fuck up. You're not going to know what to say on sales calls. You're going to have people tell you they want to, onboard and come on board and they never pay the invoice. Shit's going to happen during this time as it continues to happen in business. This is business we're talking about. Things are messy at all points. But this first phase, we just want to get messy. The whole point and the whole goal here is just to sign those 1 to 3 clients once we go live. Obviously, that's where you're booking discovery calls, and then you're booking demo calls, and you're closing clients. We obviously give you all the scripts inside our program where we teach people how to start a lead gen agency. In other words, if you don't want to obviously go into that, you can look on my channel. There's other calls, or I should say, there's other YouTube videos where I diagnose and break down our exact sales script, so you can copy that exactly too. And then this brings us into phase 3. And this is days 45 through 90. And this is an important phase because this is when I see most people hitting the first $10,000 a month. At least this is when I had my first $10,000 a month. It was day like 92, 93. It was a little bit after 3 months. But our goal here is to sign anywhere from 3 to 5 clients, it may be a little higher, maybe 6 to 7 to hit that 10K a month mark, but 3 to 5 is generally a good range that we want to see here. And this phase, honestly, is the most important phase of all the phases here because it's really going to set the foundations. And this is because once we sign these first 3 to 5 clients, we're not going to continue to sign clients temporarily. We're temporarily going to put a pause on outreach so we can get what we like case studies. And case studies, if we go to our website here, is an interview between you and the business owner. And this is where we're just going to get your clients to break down and actually speak on the results that you've been able to get them. So this is where we want to really dial in on focus solely on service delivery. That's why we're going to stop outreach and only focus on getting case studies. Because if we can get case studies exactly like these ones that we filmed with our clients at my agency, this is going to be the biggest needle mover in your business. To have another business owner come out in a specific niche and say, this is what XYZ did for us, and they can do the same for you, this will be one of the highest leverage things that you can do in your agency is get case studies, and more specifically, get interview case studies. This is the best type of actual case study itself. So this is where we're solely gonna focus on case studies, and then we're gonna double down on our niche. At first, I'm completely okay with people taking on maybe 1 to 2 clients from different niches and testing what they see works. Obviously, we're gonna create a niche based on your experiences where you find your own experiences, maybe past job work relevant. But here's where we really wanna double down on the niche is out of these 3 to 5 clients, we may kill it for 1 to 2 of them. And those are the clients that we wanna double down on because those are the clients we're probably A, gonna pay us the most, important. B, we like working with the most, not a headache. And C, they'll probably churn the least. So these are the clients that we then wanna double down on. And then we wanna get very specific with who we work with after this. And this is where we wanna hire our first employee. And the first employee you're always gonna wanna hire is going to be an inbox manager. And so this is where we give you all of our hiring questions to hire an inbox manager. And all an inbox manager does is when you're sending out the campaigns for your clients here, you're obviously gonna get responses from a lot of leads. You don't wanna be handling all the responses and doing that all by yourself anymore. Because at this point, if we're between $5,000 to $10,000 a month, we have some cash flow at least. And one of the highest leverage things that you can do at this moment is get the lowest leverage shit off your plate, AKA inbox manager. So that's where we can hire someone from the Philippines, maybe $600, $700, $800 a month, which is good pay for these people in the Philippines. And they will do a great job at managing your inboxes if you put proper systems in place so you don't have to be stuck in your client's inbox anymore. And this brings us to phase 4. And this is around where I see and kind of want people to be hitting around $15,000 a month. This is with anywhere probably between, I said roughly 10 clients here, but call it 10 to 12 clients. And this is where we are gonna put a heavy emphasis on signing clients because if we did phase 3 correctly, we should have gotten at least 1 to 2 case studies out of these 3 to 5 clients we signed. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna double down on those case studies and use those case studies to go sign a fuck ton of more clients. That's the whole focus of this point. Heavy focus on signing clients here and collecting more case studies. The more case studies we can collect, the better results you will get when it comes to sales and actually signing clients. So we want to speed run as fast as possible to get 10 interviews. That should be our goal. Our goal should be to speed run to get 10 client interviews. And that's going to be our goal here. Heavy focus on signing clients, collect more case studies, and this is where we're going to make our second hire. And our second hire is going to be a tech manager. And what a tech manager will do is 2 main things. A, they're going to set up all of the infrastructure for your clients. So they're going to be in charge of buying domains and inboxes for all your clients. Very important, so you don't have to do this anymore. And the second main responsibility of a tech manager, as you can see, our tech manager daily workflow here at my agency, is scraping leads. So this is where they're going to be scraping all the leads, verifying the leads, and uploading the leads to your clients' campaigns on top of, as said, building the infrastructure out for your clients too. So those are their 2 main responsibilities. So at this point in time, the only things that you're doing in the agency right now is taking sales calls and creating the campaigns for your clients. That means ideating the campaigns on who you want to target and writing the email copy. The inbox buying and the lead scraping and the inbox manager at this point should be off your plate because with $15,000 a month, we can hire, again, 2 cheap employees from the Philippines that do an amazing job. They take some of the lowest leverage tasks off our plate so we can focus on the higher leverage stuff, which is signing more clients so we can get to the numbers we actually want to get to here. And this then brings us to phase 5. And at phase 5, we want to be around 30K a month. And I think 6 months may be a little ambitious here. It took me definitely 12 to 15 months to hit my first $30,000 a month. As I said, I didn't have me teaching myself to get there. So obviously with you guys may be able to speed run it faster with the information we give you here. But at this point, between around that 12-month mark, you want to be around those 20 clients and at that 30K per month mark if we're doing things correctly. And here, this is a point in time where at phase 4, all we're doing is we're sprinting. We're sprinting as fast as we can to sign clients. That's the only goal it should be, as well as obviously delivering good results for our clients. But at 30K a month, this is where we want to step back. We want to take a step back, take one step back to take 2 steps forward. That should be the focus here. And what I mean by that is focus on systems. And what I mean by systems is putting systems in your business and SOPs more specifically so that the business can operate without you having to micromanage every task. So what that looks like is you're going to create daily workflows and SOPs for every task within your business. I think the best point to do this is when you hit that $30,000 a month point, because up to there, you can kind of run and gun. Up to $30,000 a month, you can just gunsling it, in all honesty. Not many systems in place, 1, 2 employees, maybe 3 potentially. But other than that, nothing too standardized in place. But at this point, if we want to scale to 50 and then the 75K months like we have now, we have to put systems in place, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to create SOPs for every role. As you can see here, these are SOPs that we give our students so they can copy our systems at my agency exactly and start their own agency. But at this point, you're going to want to create an SOP, which is just a standard operating procedure for every task. So for example, our daily inbox manager workflow, we have an SOP on how to follow up with leads. We have an SOP on how to categorize leads, how to respond to leads, how to book meetings. Literally every task you're going to make an SOP for, so that this way, if there's any questions at all, you can just send your employees these SOPs and they'll do the work for you. Because the SOP is the training. We don't want you having to train all your employees one-to-one. We want you to have the leverage from content with form of your SOPs to train your employees so that you're not having to do all that manually. Very important there. So this is where we focus on systems. And then this is where we focus on hiring our first CSM. And this is the most important hire that you are going to make in your agency. And I think $30,000 a month is the place to do this. This will be the most expensive hire that you have in your agency too. So this is where you're going to get everything off your plate in terms of the fulfillment. So at this point, the tech managers handling the inbox and the infrastructure setup, handling the lead scraping, the inbox managers handling the actual inboxes for your clients, and now the CSM will be handling the client communication and the campaign creation. So at this point, everything on the fulfillment side is off your plate. All you now have to focus on is signing more clients. So this is going to be very important, is hiring your first CSM. This is where we're obviously going to create SOPs around every campaign creation task that you would have as well. Like I said, creating systems. So this is where you'll create a client success manager daily workflow so that your CSMs know how to do every task that you were previously doing to create the campaigns and get the results for your clients. Very important there. And here at this point, we're probably gonna have to hire 1 to 2 more inbox managers to handle the volume. Because at 20 clients, I see usually 1 inbox manager can handle around 20 clients. So as soon as we go above that, I wanna hire 1 more. That is our rule of thumb typically in my agency, is 1 inbox manager for 20, so that this way, they have enough things to do in the day, because less than that, they can really finish their task pretty quickly. But this is where we'll have to hire 1 more inbox manager to handle the volume if we want to keep scaling, right? And as I said, create SOPs for every role in the agency. And the main focus here is sales, sales, sales. That's the whole thing. At this point, 30K a month, you shouldn't be doing the delivery in terms of delivering the results for your clients. That should be completely off your plate and systematized at this point in agency. So all you're doing, I swear to God, this was my whole first year, was getting everything up to this point off my plate. The second year in business, all I did was take 5 to 10 sales calls every day. Swear to God, that's all I do. It was sales, 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 brute force. And that's all you're gonna focus on at this point, is past this 30K a month mark, is taking as many sales calls as possible, increasing the volume of our own outreach campaigns to book more calls so we can keep scaling here. And at this point, this brings us to the last phase, which is phase 6. And this is 2+ years. Personally, it took me 2.5, a little bit over 2.5 years to hit $75,000 a month. As said, you guys may get there faster than me with me telling you what to do. But this is just the timeline it took me. So I wanted to break down kind of my exact timeline for you guys so that you guys can have a maybe an expectation or an incentivized look at how this kind of goes in terms of phases. And this is where we want to be at 50 plus clients. So currently in my agency, we're at around 60 clients. So that's where we're at the moment. And the main goal from here, a couple things changed, but we're really just doing more of what we did when we got to the 30K a month mark. At this point, we should have our systems in place. All of our systems that we set up in terms of the interview SOPs, the daily workflows for every actual employee in the business, every SOP on the tasks that they had to do, these should still be relatively the same. Obviously, you're gonna update these as they go because things, with cold email, things change every 6 months. So we need to update our SOPs, but nothing dramatic should change in terms of systems specifically. And this is where we're just gonna do more of what we've done. So we're gonna hire more inbox managers to handle the volume. We're gonna hire one more CSM to create the campaign so we can handle 50 plus clients, because one CSM is not gonna handle 50 plus clients, no way. We need more CSMs than that. So we're gonna hire another CSM, and this is the biggest unlock right here, is hiring a closer. Because at this point, for me, my life from 12 months to 27 months in my agency, that year and a couple month period was only sales calls. That's all I did. When I say I didn't do anything except fucking take sales calls all day, that's all I did. And at this point, we need to get you out of there. I should have gotten myself out of sales way sooner. That was a big mistake, and a big thing that I should have changed differently if I'm looking back now, is hired a closer way faster. So what we do at my agencies, we teach you obviously how to hire for not just inbox managers, CSMs, but a closer too, how to incentivize them on your offer to actually make the incentive structure and the performance and compensation structure make sense to get good talent. That's gonna be really important there. And at this point, you're fully removed from the agency. So at this point in time, we have inbox managers handling the inbox. We have tech managers handling the tech setup, lead scraping, and the infrastructure. We have CSMs handling client communication and writing the campaigns and auditing the campaigns. And now we have a sales guy or a closer who's taking all the sales calls for you. So all the discovery calls, all the demo calls. And at this point, you're fully removed from the agency. So at this point, this runs completely without you. This whole infrastructure that we've just gone over of my agency runs completely without you. And what this does is this allows you to focus on higher leverage plays. So whether that's the big leverage plays in the agency or doing things outside of the agency like that, this is gonna be the move here, is now you're fully removed from the agency and you're just at the top of the funnel, you're at the top of the ship up here, and you're kind of just leading the team. Because at this point, you're truly in a leadership role. And the most important thing that I found is in a leadership role, it's being a dealer of hope. That's a big thing, is being a charismatic leader for the organization. That's what I've really had to learn how to do and level up my skills in at this point in time. I said I can't speak on anything past phase 6 because I'm not over 75 grand a month with my own agency. So many things learned down the line, but that's what I've had to learn, is really becoming that charismatic leader in the organization itself to keep everyone bought in on the mission, and as well bought in on what they're doing day to day so we can get our clients the best results possible so that we can continue to grow past what we are right now. So to recap here, obviously we've gone over everything that my timeline of roadmap has been, but these two are really the most important parts and phases, is because this is where we're proving to ourselves that it's possible. Because once you can make a couple $1,000s online, maybe even hit your first $10,000 a month, you realize it's possible. And all you have to do is just continue to improve and iterate upon your actions you're doing every day to get to the next levels, because that's all you have to do. So with that being said, I obviously hope this video was helpful, lay out my exact timeline to you guys to give you, maybe if you're just starting, a realistic expectation of what it may take you on your own. Or again, if you want help and you want to rip literally all of our systems that we use at my agency that I said does $75,000 a month, done over $1 million in 7 figures now, cash collected with the agency itself. We give you all of our SOPs, everything in terms of hiring, everything in terms of scripts, how to set up infrastructure, how to buy email accounts, everything. You can click the first link in the description here. It'll kind of give you a video that shows you the outline of how the program works and obviously see if things are a fit. So with that being said, keep doing the hard work, act when you don't feel like it, use the law of action, and let's keep